Alright, there's a lot of things that I'm still getting used to in the grand country of France. There are just a lot of cultural things that are completely different from America. This ranges from clothes to food to talking with strangers and everything in between. Like, for example, the fact that takeout isn't a thing. Or the fact that you will most likely be shunned for wearing sweats in public. And even just the fact that most people that you just meet aren't exactly going to like the idea of you asking them about their personal life if you've just met them. Yeah, there's a lot there. And one of the things that I was most confused about for a while had a lot to do with Hugo. So, I don't know if any of you have seen the video about me slowly getting to know and eventually dating Hugo, but if you haven't, I suggest you go and check that out, because you might be a little lost in who I'm talking about. Unless, of course, you've watched everything else surrounding my boyfriend and I and basically get the gist. I don't know, up to you. Anyway, for a while, we didn't have a label, and that was a very long while. I didn't get it. I mean, we hung out all the time and went on tons of dates, but if someone walked up to me and asked what was going on between us, I just blue screened. Like, my brain went totally blank. What the heck was I supposed to say if I didn't exactly have any way of putting our relationship? I mean, I didn't want to hurt his feelings in any way, so I would just silently steer the conversation elsewhere if that happened. So, that's how it went for a while until I finally went to Danny and asked him what the big deal was. I mean, he was the grand matchmaker after all, but we were a match made with no label. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm kind of cringing at the term label. I've never been one for labels on individual people because I think they can be super harmful sometimes. But I feel like I would want people to know whether I'm dating him or not. I mean, what if some girl just walked up to him, decided that she liked him, and then just took a shot at him? What the heck would I do then? We weren't a thing. We had no label. How was she supposed to know? How is anyone? So of course, Danny, as much as I can't stand the guy sometimes, was really nice about the whole scenario. He sat me down and basically explained something that I didn't exactly expect. And that is, the French don't date. I'm sorry, what? I was extremely confused. What did he mean that the French don't date? Isn't dating, like, universal? The answer to that question is no. Dating is most definitely not universal, and this is truly how I know I'm still an American with an American bubble of knowledge. Danny sat me down and explained everything, because it was obvious that I was very confused. So, here's the breakdown. For one thing, many people in France don't exactly what the term dating means, because it's not a thing there really. I mean, people date, but it's more complicated than that. So I guess for one, the reason dating in France is so different than dating in the US is because that doesn't mean you can't hang out or be with the other people of the gender you're interested in. Like, no one would bat an eye if I just went with Danny to hang out, and it was just the two of us. Same thing of any other guy I end up friends with in France. Dating in America is a very exclusive thing. When you're tied to that person, you're tied to that person. And it's generally looked down upon, or not trusted if you're mostly out with the opposite sex. If that's what you're into in the US, it's not like that in France, and so I guess I wasn't exactly used to that either. Then there was simply the fact that apparently, women hold the power in possible relationships. I was kind of shocked by this, as Danny told me, but apparently for the most part, it was up to me to make us official. If I wanted to see and date Hugo, I actually needed to tell him that. That really threw me for a loop, because I just assumed that after going out enough, it was just a silently known thing that we would be, like, together. Then there was also the thing about kissing and being a contract closer, the deal sealer, the relationship starter, whatever the heck you want to call it. You get my drift. Once you kiss, you're exclusive. I was confused then. Do I tell him that I want to date him, or do I just kiss him and call it a day? Danny was no help at all, and basically said it was up to me. Up to me? Up to me? I can barely decide on what I want to eat for dinner, and you expect me to choose what the heck I'm going to do to decide how I tell Hugo I want to date him? If there's one thing you guys should know about me, though, it's the fact that I'm a chicken. Even if I wanted to kiss him, I was kind of freaked out by it, because Hugo is so perfect in literally every way. I feel like I would second guess myself in kissing him and messing everything up. I mean, I guess that's not true anymore speaking, since I'm here and he's my boyfriend. But before that, So, I decided that I was going to stay the chicken that I am and do the unthinkable. Tell him that I wanted him to be my boyfriend. Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? For France, that is. I went to his apartment later that day and told him first thing walking in. I think he blinked twice trying to compute what the heck I had just said to him, and then he shrugged his shoulders and rolled with it. He later told me after a little while longer that it did kind of shock him that I just asked, 'cause that's not really a thing. But at this point, I mean, we've kissed already, so, we've been considered exclusive enough. I just told him that I was super chicken about kissing him right then and there, though, so that's why I asked. He actually laughed about it, and that made me really happy because he's got the cutest laugh ever. It's something even to this day we talk about with people. I think it's a little bit of a goofy thing for both of us to try and figure out this whole relationship thing, because at the end of the day, we're both still foreign to each other. I'm still American, he's still French, and we come from two completely backgrounds when it comes to culture. I like getting to figure this out, though. It's a fun experience most of the time. Except for that one time I got American cheese and he just kinda sat there having a mental breakdown about why it's orange for half an hour. I forget that there is a lot about food when it comes to France. More on that in a future video. There's a lot to cover there. Anyway, I think when it comes to culture and trying new things, everyone should be doing it. I mean, that's why I push so hard that everyone should travel. The more we can open our eyes to the things that we are not used to, the better we'll be to everyone that's different from us. I was proud of myself a bit getting to know more about France in that way. I'm also thankful for Danny, because if it wasn't for him, I seriously think Hugo would have pulled an Ariana Grande thank you next on me. I apologize to those who might not get the reference. That's another thing I've learned too, though. People can move on without repercussions. I think that was one of the most positive things about the dating scene in France. People aren't made to feel obligated to date a person or stay with a person. There isn't like a certain amount of dates you have to go on before you're considered exclusive. You both just have to feel it. And if someone's leading you on for just a tad too long, you can let them go and move on. Or, if you're simply not feeling it, let it go, move on. I mean, don't get me wrong, if someone pulled that on me, I think I would have been a bit upset, but I get it too. I'd rather someone pull the plug early than feel obligated to stay with me. People deserve their happiness in whatever way is comfortable to them. I quite like the French dating system. It's not like I really follow it that well, but it's one of the things that I'm really getting to know, and the more I understand it, the less freaked out about things I get. Like the fact that Hugo dropped the I love you bomb on me maybe a month or so into the relationship. Yeah, that freaked me out for a hot minute. But that's not considered a milestone phrase, cause if you love someone, or you have love for them, then you love them. Simple as that. There's even stuff like him having girlfriends that might end up saying hi from time to time, but I don't worry about them, because I trust Hugo. That's what a lot of people around here seem to run on. Trust. I actually quite like everyone that Hugo is friends with, too. He's the reason my social circle was able to broaden a bit, and I like everyone he's friends with, girls included. I feel like it's a very non-toxic and non-restraining kind of society. Everything about it is just very refreshing to me. I don't have to think twice when getting to know one of his guy friends. They're all respectful in their flirty French ways. I mean, I can't expect anything less, and I don't. This is a very beautiful system that they've got going for them, and it's just so very refreshing.